Hello and welcome to the site view on Asake Online. My name is Leslie Moyo. In today's program, I'm privileged to host a very well-known somebody. He's an award-winning musician. He's also a composer, a well-traveled ambassador of Zimbabwe's culture, Zimbabwe's music, Zimbabwe's heritage. And I'm pleased to join Vusa Mkhaya. Thank you so much for taking time to join us on today's program.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for this intro. Surprising.
I hope I'm
No, I just see myself as an artist. Lokho kunye okuningi lokho hayi. Siyabonga kodwa we don't say no nxa umuntu ekunika compliment, but yeah. Awuchiyanga.
So, how does art start? Maybe let's start there. Growing up in Bulawayo, your early memory in terms of how you come to love music, or when the music bug bites you.
I was born and raised in Bulawayo, in Chabalala Township. This is where I grew up, at Chabalala. And Ekaya Kusecholocho from my father's side. And from my mother's side, it was in Ndabazinduna. So in Ndabazinduna it's just a few kilometers away from the city. So you call up Sihamba Khona Ngasise Ekaya isikole sivalwa. And I remember when I was about 4 or 5 years old, which I used to love radio. And I used to dance to every song I Promere doing. Some of the things I don't remember quite well, but his story sings Chelo Malume and so on. Which there was a musician back then, Maskandi musician called Umanyanyat. And they say I used to sing along to the songs and dance. And this is why at home I am called Manyanyat. So music was always there as a kid. And then esikolo ngaqalisa grade 1 eMahlalezu primary eChabalala. There was a school choir, kindergarten choir, a junior choir and senior choir. Around grade 3, I joined a choir by Mrs. Madimabi. And I loved music, choral music. So it's been there for me from an early age, singing in the school choir, also Sunday school as well, and at home. And I've never stopped.
Mm-hmm. And you grew up at a time where Imbuvi was sort of like ngathi when I speak in Bulawayo, there's so many groups. How did you then come? Was it on purpose for you maybe to follow that type of music, or someone influenced you to sort of like take that route?
Lady Smith, Black Mambazo had gospel albums back then. And when I went to secondary school, Ishati, also in Chabalala, we had a scripture union. And it was easy to sing Imbuwe ngoba we didn't need any instruments, we didn't need money to buy instruments or any amplification. So we formed a group with my friend Undabenkulu Ndlovu, a scripture union, scripture union khona. So ukulalela ama-album. Undabenkulu had, his parents or his dad had a collection of Black Mambazo albums, many of them. So we'd walk to Nkulumane, Ngibo, sit down and listen to Black Mambazo and try to imitate Esokuzwayo and then take it back to school and teach others. So this is how Imbuwe started with me. And then I moved to Ndabazinduna Form 3 and Form 4 in Hlambabaloi. When I went in there, I had moved in Ndabazinduna. So when I went to school the first week, ngezwa abantu behlabela kwenye classroom emini around 2. I went there ngalungusa ngewindi and I saw ukuthi kulabo Choma abahlabela Imbuwe, and I was so happy. my first week in school to find people doing what I loved. So I joined khonapho. And I sang with them for 2 years in school. And this is how I got to meet with Insingizi, because there was an event at the Ndabazinduna Training Center organized by the Ministry of Education and Culture. So when babuya bevele eSobukasi, babefunda eSobukasi, mina ngile group yami from Ndabazinduna, and we sang and started talking. Bangitshela ukuthi babesele inyathi with sender and so on in Popoma. So ngathi ngivale izikolo, I went to town, ngahamba ngabadi. And then, yeah, we started racing together. And I would go back to Ndabazinduna esikolo, come back and race with the guys. Ngathi ngikade to Form 4. Then I came in and we decided to do it professionally.
Is it the same crew, or like I say, or maybe the other members were also part of Insingizi?
Unfortunately, abanye sebasishiya, kodwa uDumi uRamatu was there from day one. And then Ungo joined in 3 years later from that meeting. And Omunye stopped performing, is still alive. Kodwa abanye abantu, unfortunately, sebasishiya emhlabeni.
So now you obviously after school you decide to take this group seriously, becoming a full member of the group. Then comes the touring part. How does that come about? Obviously, you start to explore other areas, even beyond Zimbabwe.
Our first tours were around Zimbabwe. We did boarding schools, primary schools, Escotini. Mainly Escotini, we taught in Plumtree as well. Umuntu wayengasibuza ngokungani singogwesela, because we knew amakhaya wonke, like izitolo, izikolo, ama-bus stop and so on. I mean, we had no car, sasihamba ngamabhasi. So sasingena sibile ezikole, ama-primary schools and so on, touring, performing there, abantwana, after school, maybe like 20 cents and so on. So those were our early days of touring, and then performing Guma weddings and events during the weekend. Then in 1995, we got our big break. Uba Nkosana, who was working Lama Youth Center, he was one of the heads of Lama Youth Center around Bulawayo and youth programs. We went to his office for something else. Back then there were no cell phones and no, ama phone and ama WhatsApp and so on. So we went in there for something else, and then we said, yeah, Beneliti abafana. And I remember him saying, yeah, so he got this opportunity to find young people who were doing imbuve or traditional music, and for a cultural exchange program. And he had us in mind because we had performed at one of the events as a city council back then, so he knew who we were. And this is how we started our first tour of Austria, Slovenia, and Denmark in 1995 through Wawun Kosana in this cultural exchange program with the Bulawayo City Council and Austria.
And how was that experience? I mean, performing in front of a different crowd, that different from what we're used to, in different races and all. How was that experience?
It was a life-changing experience, and I mean there were a lot of culture shocks as well, because first it was our first time to be in Europe, and interest in really cut from China, the food, and you know when we're performing as Kolo, for example, in Zim, we were happy. isikolo sasisinika i-classroom to sleep, like they gave. We had our own tent when we were touring around. So when the school says siyakunika i-classroom yokulala, and we were happy with this little classroom, we're not pitching our tent and so on, right? And now we go on tour for the first time in Europe, and we are given a hotel and omunye nomunye room yakhe. So you can imagine now the change. And you wake up in the morning, you know, go Bulawayo in Zimbabwe growing up, thina sikwazi abazali bethu babesebenza ama-kitchen and so on, cooking and making sure ukuthi amakhiwa are well taken care of. And now you go to Europe on tour, and you wake up in the morning, go for breakfast, you come back and your room is clean. So clean amakhiwa besiklinela thina. So there were so many things, you know, esasiziqalisa ukuzibona, and we were shocked, excited, and also happy to perform, because now you are performing to an audience. Engazwayo ukuthi thina, you have to explain ukuthi ingoma le ihamba njani, uhamba njani, and so on and so on. And also to realize ukuthi i-art is taken serious kwezinye indawo, njalo ngumsebenzi. Indlela ababesihlonipha ngayo, ababesiphatha ngayo, kwasenza saba le motivation to keep on going.
And also obviously, Selikonangali, you got exposed to different sounds. You speak about how music was taken seriously in Europe. Did that then influence the type of sound that you produced at that time, or Kwabalama influences from the different sounds from all over the world that you were being exposed to?
No, we were performing also at festivals, and we met a lot of artists along the road. I remember one time we met also Thomas Mafumo, and he was so happy to see us. I mean, that in fact, he didn't know who we were, but the fact that we were from Zimbabwe and that we were doing traditional music and touring. So he told us we should keep on doing what we are doing, because this is the music that people like, and this is the music that has a future. We met Abobo Simhlongo and so on and so forth. So yes, along the way, you know, you listen to people who have done it before, people who were successful back then. You watch how they do things, and you take what you think is good for you and add into the music so that we grow, because life is about growth and life is about learning from the masters.
And in terms of your own music as a group, obviously there's a time where you also decided maybe to pursue your own solo projects, explore further my talents in the music. How does that come? And also, because obviously you guys are still together. We have seen Amaima groups where they break up, some pursue their own solo careers, but you stayed intact as Zinsingizi, but you still have your own personal projects that you do. Maybe you can. How did you manage to do it for so many years?
A very good question. You know, in a family, right? Kulo baba lo mama nabantwana. You grow up in that household, libancane lonke. Selikhulile, abanye bayayenda, abanye bethatha, and move out. Bayayakha imizi yabo bodwa. And by so doing, akusho ukuthi angisengumuntu kaNdlovu, ngenxa yokuthi ngikhulele endlini kaNdlovu. So koNdlovu kungikhaya. La nxa sengihlala ngedwa, ubhuti wami ehlala yedwa, omunye esethetha. Sonke sinabantwana bakaNdlovu, we come back koNdlovu. Nxa kunomsebenzi kumbe nxa kumele sibe khona koNdlovu. So this is how we also handle this thing yokuthi insingizi kungikhaya. Now sesikhulile omunye sesiyakha umuzi wakhe ngale. It doesn't mean ukuthi sesinjani sesikhohlwa ngikhaya, because kuqakathekile kuba wazi lapho uvela khona. You can come back home all the time. So Insingizi is our home, and we all have our separate projects, but we still come back home and remember ukuthi yikho lapho kwaqalisa khona yonke into. And that way it keeps us, healthy and also, healthy relationship. And also kuyasivula ingqondo. Ngoba ungahlala ngikhaya, uthatha umfazi lokhu uhlala ngikhaya, lokhu umntwana wangikhaya, uzobe labantwana ngihlala ngikhaya somehow. Kule into nje yabe ngasahambi kuhle kuwe ngoba kodwa ungaphuma phandle, especially even change township lapho wakhulela khona uyohlala kwenye indawo, uzakuvula mbijana ingqondo, uzaba exposed to ezinye izinto ezingakunceda nxa usubuya ngikhaya, maybe to make ikhaya lakho libe njani even more better than what it was.
So maybe in terms of your discography, how many albums have you done together? And maybe what are some of your memorable performances as a group here in Singisi?
Discography in Singisi, I think we have done a total of including like best of and so on, I would say 9 albums from the beginning. And memorable being our very first album, Sugar Date, that we recorded in Aarhus in Denmark in 1995. We had this song, Sugar Date, and we used to perform this a lot during the AIDS weekend around Bulawayo. People loved it. So we recorded the whole album and we were ready. Some, like nowadays, young people will go into a studio or record one song. A studio, it takes time to record the song, and they can't even perform it live because of the guys in Gomaya, but that's a studio. So we used to rehearse. Even if we had no shows, we rehearsed. So when we went into the studio, this is one of my memorable events. Now looking at it, we went into the studio and we told the guys, "This is a recorder, and we want to book one day for an album, 10 songs." And they thought we were joking. How can you record 10 songs in one day? But because we were well rehearsed and we were ready, we said to them, "Yes, we need one day." And I think every song we had like 2 takes or 3 takes, and we were done. Next. So 10 songs were done in one day. And my cassette back then. So I started releasing a cassette, about 1,000 copies that we took back home with us. So I found power sales, Lapana, and some of them Saswachings. So Ezra Chizas Wanda, some nigga cassette, Lonunga Bankan, by Chaya was a PC, and the rest was history.
And maybe now looking back, obviously you mentioned some people that have helped you along the way. You speak of Abu Ezra, maybe who are some of the people, maybe local people, or even international, who helped you along the way to be where you are now?
There are so many. We would need an interview just for that part. Yeah, there are so many people, people like Uwawum Kosana or Uwawum Kosana. He played a very big role to help us to be where we are now. And I'm a teachers won't in my youth clubs, in my youth center where we were working. And we had Ebola City Council also was very helpful, the health department. We used to do my events labo, and Machiavelli AIDS Council was also very helpful. Labanyo put us in, I remember Vumbo put us. Siambe town put us a study money single. Put us a money single, put us our sevenza. Back then, you go into the city of Nigmalium Chop, and so on. And professionally, we had many people pushing us and, just getting advice and listening to how they do things and how they did things. Our Kondim Black Mufolosi, we looked up to Black Mufolosi, who put us also Chamoyo, Labo Tomek, Labo Lakimoyo back then. And Mshana, who was also there. I remember when we performed in a course, at the festival. Also, Sticks and Klana sat down with us and analyzed our show and told us what to do and what to change and what not to do. Doubt as well. Doubt. I forgot his surname, but where's on course line. So there are so many people who science story at course. And so I mean banenga cool.
And now, obviously, it started in the 90s, a different era from what it is now. Music has evolved. Now, so AI music and all, but you speak about how you used to take time to rehearse and everything. Now, abantu bangena in a studio, and the song is produced and it's done. Um, what's your take on that? Quality of music, maybe looking at how you guys used to do it back then and now, and where music is now going. So it's about AI, where someone can just compose a song and it becomes a hit.
I think am I still on?
Yes, I said yeah, yes.
Yeah. Tina, we still do it the old school way, where you rehearse and go into the studio so that because we are performing artists first before recording artists. So I always say there's a difference between a performing artist and a recording artist. Kulabanye who go into the studio and record. Ungamfaka staging, they fail because they are recording artists and not performing artists. But they record and think because they recorded, they're now performing artists. Because performing is an art on its own. So being in the studio and recording a song doesn't make you a performing artist. You are a recording artist, yes. So some of us were lucky, we started as performing artists. We performed for almost 5 or 6 years. Album, just performing. So now when we go into the studio, kuba lula because then ingoma ihambe phelile and we know what we're doing. And we check the same thing from the studio on stage. Kodwa, abantu balendlela zabo ezithile zokuphila. And I think those that are doing it and are doing it well, technology is evolving and everyone has their own ways of doing things. So I think there are many young people who are doing well and who have mastered the art of being a recording artist and a performing artist. Abanye are still finding their way or trying to find their way. So I hope we all have a space, we all have a stage, and whoever is doing it their own way, and my take is that and also ukufunda kwabanye asebehambile indlela. Unfortunately, some of these youngsters kabajele ungazama ukumbonisa sokungani nomuhawu sokungani njani. So you just observe from a distance uchiye kunjani.
But let's speak about the other side of music that you speak about performing and recording. I know you're also doing other bigger projects musically. Maybe you can tell us about that. Where you're now involved.
What?
No, I mean where you're now involved even in, I don't know whether there's called it scoring, music scoring, when it comes to big projects like movies and big projects that you're doing in Europe there. How does that come about? I know maybe through your exposure there to some of the stages that we're performing.
Sometimes it's kunzima to speak up. Thina amaNdebele, siyazama ukuthi ezinye izinto yikho nje wathi ukuthi wena ukhulume because I didn't want to. Yeah,
Yes.
I love movies. And I remember the movie Power of One. eyashutwa koBulawayo with Morgan Freeman and many other Hollywood actors back then. And the soundtrack was done koBulawayo mostly with Johnny Clegg and Lebo M and Hans Zimmer. Bahlabela eStandard Square. And I was not part of it, I was still in school. But some of my friends were part of it, bahlabela. And I listened to that Power of One album. It's one of my favorites. So ngokuya kwesikhathi ngokukhula, I thought ukuthi this is one of the things that I would love to do. To create music for film or to work with film, because you know, you go and watch a movie and you come out thinking, movie lani ibichaza so. Very few people will mention the music. Mina usually ngangihlala ngizeni kuze nxa sokufika ama-credits ngikubona ukuthi ngubani oyenza music and so on. And I got a chance with Insingizi to work on some documentaries, to create music for documentaries, and also on my own to create or to perform, to record music for films. I recorded a theme song for a Kenyan/German movie called Watch Water, and this movie was nominated for an Academy Award. Unfortunately, it didn't win, but the theme song of the movie was recorded by me, which was a good CV for me, because then, you know, when the movie is in the US and the Academy Award, you get a little bit of attention from abanye abantu, especially independent filmmakers. So I've worked with also directors in Zimbabwe, with Rombi Kateza. We did a movie together. She gave me an opportunity to create the whole score for Transactions, a documentary, which was my first full-on documentary to be responsible, to create music for. And I have also done, music for other documentaries. We have also, with Insingizi, done music for PlayStation. So
Interesting.
It's still ongoing. We are still learning. We are still creating, and we are still working. I've done things for Sight as well. Kukurahundi, we did a documentary for Sight, and we are still.
Maybe take us through that creative process. So when someone approaches you to say, okay, I'm working on this project, it's a movie or it's a documentary. So the composition is it something that is aligned to the theme of whether it's a movie or or you just come up with your own composition that you feel will suit that type of content that you are producing for?
It's teamwork between the producers of the movie or documentary and the directors and also the composer. With Transactions, for example, Romy gave me the documentary and there was no music on it, just dialogue. So we discussed and she told me, like, on this scene, I want sentimental music. On this scene, we need happy music. On this scene, we need something in between. So you discuss with the producers or the directors, and they tell you what they expect and what they need. So then you start creating and submit to them, give it to them. Sometimes they can tell you, nah, this is too happy or this is too sad. So you discuss and find, a middle ground. It's mostly teamwork between the director, the producers, and the music composer.
Interesting. Let's go back and talk a bit about social media, and as well as I know you're very active on social media. I've seen you interacting with people there. But how does that then influence you as an artist to say there's now this platform where you can interact with people, whether they are praising your music or your productions, or they're criticizing it. How then do you balance that? Because obviously it's not everyone who will come and say, oh, some will appreciate and some will not. Or sometimes you're just speaking to these ghosts, but you don't see the person behind, you don't know who that person is, but you still have to interact and respond to that person.
Life is about balance, finding balance. And social media also, I think the most important thing is to find a balance and to know why you are there. And recently I did a song. You know, sometimes I do skits and just jokes and stuff. I did a song, Islanders and Imali Sivayo and so on. Just an example. And some people understood, some people who know me or who know my art knew where I was coming from. They understood the joke behind it.
Yeah.
And I got so many new people that came in who had no idea who I was or what I do. Hey, when you had that's why hey, when you get there, when you marry a you know. So because I know who I am and I know why I do what I do, I just, as long as abanye, I mean, ababenga okade ungasona mhlamba I left it there, but abanye bezoqasha ukuthethisana and so on. So we had to delete. And thanks God I have a team that I work with also on social media that helps me, because sometimes go too much and sometimes I'm busy. So then you say anything or whatever, if it gets personal, not only to me, but wabanye abantu kuma comment, we delete. And because we know who we are and we know what kind of image we want to keep, you know, silabantwana, we have families. And mina, I don't want to be known as umuntu or controversial with social media or whatever. How am I going to kuza abantwana when they go on their Instagram pages and do things when mina lami sense are the same things or even worse, you see? So I always have that in mind. I love social media and I'm a lot on social media, but I always have that in mind. I have family, I have siblings, I have nephews, I have nieces that look up to me. So I want to be an example to them first before abantu bemzini. You see, and I always try to keep it clean, because social media is a good tool for exposure, for our art, for music, for many things, and we should use it and try to use it wisely.
Speaking of the Maskit Lawana, and maybe some of the music, would you say it also borders on maybe social comment, obviously, because sometimes you do these things that, as I was saying at that particular time, you've also done some songs that maybe speak to issues that are affecting Abantu, especially Zimbabweans. Would you say that there's that bit of commentary, social commentary, or political commentary in the?
Yes.
Sometimes maybe you'll just be having fun and you just record a 30-second song or 15-second song.
I mean, that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea, because the issues, most of those 30-second clips that I do, so I observe and then I think some people will do skits and do acting and so on. And for me, writing music, creating music, comes natural. So I'm lucky which I have also a home studio. And if something happens today and I see this thing is trending, I can just take maybe an hour and say, let me record this. There's something that is trending since time. I'm sure you've seen it also. I'm not the ones. And I was tempted. I was tempted, Izolo, to you see, I just say you once and you know what I'm talking about. So I was tempted, Izolo, to create something, and then I was thinking, will I be promoting this if I do something? Because this is something, I mean, that I personally, I mean, the whole thing, I saw mina engikuthazayo, especially now labantwana abangamankazana or labosses and so on. So then ngazibuza ukuthi if I do this, abantu will get it, but So ngani ngiyakukhuthaza ngivumelana nakho ngiyekele. And you know, I spend a bit of time thinking, should I not? So sometimes where something happens and you want to record, and then you question yourself, it happens.
All right, but and then speaking of isn't there a trend? Recently there was a Zimbabwean, I think it's based in America, Ukorimbo. He was venting out, speaking about, I'm not, I don't associate with Zimbabwe and all. But I think for you, when you do your art there, do you feel that responsibility of saying, okay, I'm carrying a Zimbabwean name or Zimbabwean take, and whatever I do maybe might be associated with the country or the people that I come from, and therefore maybe it also helps you in terms of how you carry yourself, especially when also staging. So do you then carry that take or say or do you want to be identified to say Uvusa is a Zimbabwean artist, or is a Zimbabwean musician, or a Zimbabwean creative, or is just Vusa Mkai and that's it?
Before you know, and wherever I go, I represent Ondlovu, umthombeni ogeqanile ovulemvu, yaswelabelusi, yatobungqomiselusi. Ngumntakandlovu first. So whatever I do out there, if it comes together, umntakandlovu, ababondlovu, you see, first. Okwesibili ngwakobulawayo, and that we should not forget. This is why my tagline is always from Bulawayo to the world. Because, you know, we all know Nasi Bulawayo, especially an artist of Bulawayo, which is kunengi kakhulu okumele sikunqobe as artists in the city of Bulawayo. We have Skies Metro, we have now have Ikhulumani FM, but i-radius yabo kayifanani nabanye o-Star FM labo Z-FM and so on. So as an artist kuqakathekile ukuthi sibe wazi singobani, sivela ngaphi, njalo siya ngaphi.
I asked that question because there's this issue where social media where people are always questioning you why you say you always use the hashtag from Bulawayo to the world and not from Zimbabwe to the world.
When an artist from the US says, I'm from the Bronx, or I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from LA, I have a problem now. But when an artist from Zimbabwe says, I'm from Bulawayo, so we problem. You're going to see a problem as a country. Because anyone, and because they are proud of where they come from. So I would do wrong to be proud of Lapo Velakon. And I've seen people saying that, and abantu bakobulawayo kabala problem. And most of those people have a problem with phones. No one can social media just to search and find anything. And for me, anyone on the moon is a will say when I say I'm from Bulawayo to the world, and they will see what Bulawayo is in Zimbabwe. So I will have a problem.
Maybe then looking forward, maybe what are some of the projects that you're working on, some of the collaborations maybe that you're working on? I know you are very busy, you're touring and going all over the show, but maybe just, it might not really be detailed, but I'm sure maybe there are things that are big projects that you're working on.
Yeah, there are some projects. I mean, Amanya, we can't talk about it now. We are working on recordings, and the touring is also in progress. We'll be touring again. I mean, we've already started, but then the big tour is coming across Europe, in France and summer as well. We have a French tour in the south of France coming up, and North America tour is coming up as well, end of year. So there are so many exciting projects and events that we are looking forward to be doing. and creating. I'm also working on in music for a documentary which will be announced soon. So yeah, it's been try kwenzani kule ndawo, try hit the ground running.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
2026 uqalisile, and January has been a busy month for us already, and I'm looking forward to a lot of music, a lot of creating, and a lot of traveling as well.
Okay. So as we end, I want to pick your brain on just to find out from you we'll start with I don't know if to start with Zimbabwe. Yeah, we'll start with Zimbabwe, then City Africa, then international. So you told me your five all-time best Zimbabwean musicians, then City Africa, then Sekena International.
All time.
Yes.
Okay, Zimbabwean all time. I will start with Black Follows, obvious. And then Simon Chimbetro. I must not say why, right? Black
If you want,
Follows.
if you want to
Okay.
explain it, yes.
Black Follows, Simon Chimbetro, Andy Brown, Solomon Skuza, George Swand. Abanye bazabuza George Swand ngubani. So, but then, you say all time, for me, those are the five all time. Zimbabwe. And then in the world,
yeah, let's go to Africa, then the world.
So Africa.
Yeah, Africa. Yeah.
Africa, my number one is obvious. Ubrahima Segela, who I had the honor to meet a few times and also to perform for, and meet and listen. Listening to him talk, just chilling and listening was a masterclass. Learn a lot from. So, Africa, right? Ubrahima Segela and Salif Keita. And number three, Thandiswa Mazwai. Yeah, Thandiswa. And there are many. I'm trying to eliminate some, and some of them ngabantu engibaziyo in person. So I'm trying to balance this and say, I said Duma Segela Salif, Thandiswa.
Yes.
Sheikh Tidiane Sek. I don't know if you know him, but yeah, check him out. And number five will be between these two. Who shall I eliminate?
I can give us the truth. Then say somebody good old. The two journalists.
Fatoumata Diawara and Yosundo.
Interesting. Very, very rich selection. Then international.
But these ones are international as well. So by international, you mean out of Africa?
Yes. Just Carabo, Europe, and other continents. Yeah.
Number one, like as someone who loves movies and who's trying to create a different cuisine, wrote in the movie Hans Zimmer. That one's up there. And then who else is up there? Buena Vista Social Club in Cuba. And then Pat Metheny, Bob McFerrin, and who else? Who else? Nas.
Okay. And the top trending song now in Ngoma Oilalela that you are listening to that is really on repeat. List there. Just one song that is currently on repeat. Just one.
Just one. I don't have one song, but I have an album, Chimorenga, from Thomas Mafuma. I was listening to it Israel this morning as well. Oh, the one I
Okay.
want a disaster.
Oh, yes, that's
That one, yes.
all right. On that note, we would like to thank you so much, Vusam Kaya, for taking time to speak to us, to share with us your journey in music, your journey in the creative space. I think the reason why, obviously, we chose to speak to you is because you have done a lot for Zimbabwean music and in internationally things that you told us about, and want to just take time to get to know more about you and also document your story.
Thank you.
For that will come later also to who would listen to this maybe in the next 5, 10 years, and they will be inspired to to do something in Piroza.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for what you guys at Site do to document our history, especially with the Zipra and all the things that you do. Siyabonga kakhulu, because we need these things. Kuningi kakhulu okwalahlekayo ngeculture yethu lembali yethu, because it was not documented. Izingoma, imidlalo, and so many things that we grew up listening or hearing these stories. Kodwa I was told in the online because they were not documented. So siyabonga kakhulu enikwenzayo for in documenting all these things and all these stories, because okwakhathesi siyabe siyakholisa ukubukela, but our children and our children's children will benefit from these things. And as a parting shot, kuqakathekile to be proud of who we are and where we come from as Zimbabweans, as Africans, as Abantu. And we must also teach our kids ukuthi singobani, so that when they grow up and they are asked ukuthi bangobani, they should know izangelo zabo, izitemo zabo, lapho bavela khona, and so on. Yuma Sekela once said to me, we have to be careful ukuthi abantwana bethu nxa sebebuza ukuthi bangobani bengagcini besithi khona they used to say we were Africans, because babengasakwazi ukuthi bangobani. So it's very important to document these things and to teach our children and our children's children. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was Vusam Kaya, is leading a musician. He said that these things that I should say, I should say them on his behalf. Yeah. So
no,
thank you so much.
Not on my behalf. Just say them well. Not on my. If you will say on my behalf, just say Vusam Kaya, and that's it.
Yes. that's how he wants to be known as Vusam Kaya, an artist, and he was speaking to him about his journey in music, starting way back in the 90s up to now, and the massive projects that are coming. So obviously we'll keep following him and celebrating him. And the rest of the guys that he's working with. Thank you so much for watching. This was the Side View on Asake Online. And my name is Leslie Moy. It's goodbye for now.